Well. Guess who's back, family? It is the Wise OG. And if I'm being specific, it's the real Wise OG. Because some dude trying to cop my style tried to use the name. So I say real Wise OG to let it be known that I'm the original. You feel me? Well, family, looks like everything is working properly from what I can see. Want to thank anyone who's here for joining me. I want to certainly encourage you to keep coming back. Spread the word, because this is more than a YouTube channel. For me, this is not about likes and this and that. Of course, that helps us, but it's really about building, or at least being part of a movement, which I'll get into a little bit later. I have a special surprise. It's so special, I'm not even going to tell you yet. In fact, I'm not going to tell you about this surprise until it's done. That's the way I'm moving from now on. I'm not going to do a lot of talking. It's going to happen, and then I'll tell you what it's about. We're going to do it that way. You have to move this way these days, because, again, people will take your idea. I've announced it, and they'll be trying to do it before I did it. We can't have that. I would not be qualified to be a wise OG if I keep acting in manners of the foolish, would I? All right. Well, I want to get started. I don't know how many people are here. I don't really care, but I do want to make sure that enough people are going to hear this message. So I'm going to talk a little bit around the issue, then I'm going to get into it in a few minutes. Family, let me start by saying I'm very grateful to be alive. I do not take that for granted. Every day to me is a beautiful day. I don't care if it's a tornado, if it's freezing, if it's hailstorms. Every day I'm breathing is a beautiful day, because I tell you, there have been times when I was close to not breathing, plenty of times. I think the last time I counted was about 8. And so I don't take these things lightly. I don't take your support lightly. I read all your comments. I would say at least 99% of them. I try to respond to most of them, even those that are a little bit spicy sometimes. And I know that you all are watching. I'm thankful. I don't think this is me. I think this is a higher force, and I'm the vessel. But I believe that this is meant to be. I believe it's an idea whose time has come. And I believe it's really beginning to impact a lot of you based on the comments I see. And I have to tell you that does a lot for me to know that the intention appears to be manifesting. You know, it's one thing to have a great idea and you don't see it coming to light. I've had a million great ideas, and many times they didn't come to light. And I've had a few that have come to light and been pretty well received. This appears to be one of them. So I want to thank you. I want to give my statement of gratitude to the Most High. And I want to begin. So let me begin by saying good evening to everyone listening. This is the Real Wise OG here on YouTube. The topic for tonight's live is, what is the purpose of men's empowerment? And I'm going to say something at the outset tonight that I know some men's empowerment creators on YouTube and other platforms will not like, and so be it. And this is what I want to say in general. Not everyone who talks about empowerment, particularly empowering men, actually wants to empower men or is actually empowering men. And that needs to be said. I think sometimes people are simply using lonely, frustrated, bitter, and confused men or insecure men as their business model, as their personal come up. And that's what we call selling outrage. That's what we call pandering to people's resentment, selling them a fantasy. And if any of those statements makes you uncomfortable, that's okay. Put your seatbelt on, your helmet on. Stay with me for the next 15, 20 minutes, because we're going to go deeper yet. Tonight isn't about attacking anybody. That's really not my stilo, not my MO. This is about protecting a movement that has the potential to improve literally millions of lives. That's what this is about, no more, no less. In 2026, this year, this whole men's empowerment niche is everywhere. You see it everywhere. It's one of the fastest growing subjects on social media platforms. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels. thousands of TikTok videos and podcasts, books, blogs, courses, coaches, some self-proclaimed experts who are diving into this empowerment, not just male empowerment, but empowerment in general. And I really want to be clear. There's nothing wrong with making money from your honest work. I believe if you're doing work, cab drivers get paid, the airlines get paid, your clothing designers get paid, Amazon and all these other places get paid. Why shouldn't people get paid for helping people, right? And so if you dedicate your life to helping people, I believe you deserve to earn a living from it. But when money becomes the mission and the end all, instead of actually helping people to transform their lives, the movement at that point has lost its way. And I've seen this happen. Well, we'll get into that. Whenever something becomes popular, whenever it becomes profitable or lucrative, whenever it becomes fashionable, the opportunists, the suckers, and the fakers show up. People don't really care about the cause. They're chasing clicks, followers, controversy, money, attention. They never got hugs and kisses. They may have never got fame. I've seen this happen in several areas of activity. I've seen this happen in education. I've seen this happen in politics. I've seen it happen in community activism. And now I'm seeing it happen in this realm that we call men's empowerment. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. That and my lovely queen had brought it up as something, baby, I think this is something that maybe you should talk about. Now I'm thinking about that. That's absolutely something I should talk about. It's something that I think about often, that I see people popping up at the Rootworks with very suspicious, very low-hanging fruit type of information. The type of stuff you give people that you don't think a lot about. Oh, you hungry? I'll give you this. Let them eat cake type of thing instead of a real meal. Somebody's hungry, don't give them a snack. You give them a real meal if you can, right? So I want to have this conversation. As I said, although it will be critical, it's not to criticize people, but it's to help define what men's empowerment, as I see it, should actually be. And before I continue, let me tell you why this subject matters so much to me. For about close to 40 years, I've dedicated my entire adult life and some of my teenage years to empowering other people. That's a fact. I worked as a teacher, a youth worker, a community organizer, author, YouTube influencer, and now I'm dabbling into this realm of being an empowerment coach. I spent years, literally decades, helping people become more disciplined, more knowledgeable, more responsible, and more purposeful. So when I'm talking about empowerment, this ain't something I'm pulling out of thin air. This ain't a trend for me. I'm talking about my life's work. Something I went to school for and sacrificed for and studied for and went through hard knocks for, And tonight, I want to answer two questions. What is the real purpose of men's empowerment? And how can you tell whether a men's empowerment YouTube channel or creator is genuinely trying to empower men or simply trying to profit from them? If you're joining me live, please let me know where you're watching from. I would love to know that. I would love to know where people are watching from. If I can see it out, I will shout you out. The other question I want to ask you is, when you hear the phrase men's empowerment, what's the first word or thing that comes to mind for you? Type that in the chat because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Constantly trying to get your input so I can have more innovative and creative and relevant material for you. So let's begin with the foundation of this. What is men's empowerment really? Well, the first thing is that real men's empowerment is not entertainment. It might be entertaining sometimes. I might say something and you chuckle. Oh, he's funny. I never thought of it that way. But that's not the foundational purpose to entertain. It isn't performance. It isn't pretending to be some alpha male, which is a fake, bogus concept anyway. It isn't acting tough, bunch of bravado. It's not about collecting expensive toys gadgets, and clothing so strangers can think you're successful. Real men's empowerment exists for one basic purpose: transformation and elevation. The purpose is to help men become, and that's really important. Hope everybody could still, okay. It said here that it got disconnected. Okay, we're good. Men's empowerment is supposed to inspire men, educate men. It's supposed to help men or encourage self-discovery amongst men. Men get to know who they are without the titles and the clothes and the religion and all this other things we put on. Who are we at our foundation? It forces self-examination. It demands self-correction. It helps to develop self-discipline. And ultimately, it's supposed to, as I see it, produce what we might call self-mastery. And you really can't become a better man if you're pretending you have nothing to learn, right? Can you? Growth begins when a man says, I have work to do, and I have plenty of room for improvement. The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. And that's not weak. That's a level of humility that's important. And we might say that's a form of maturity. I've been blessed to have met and been taught by, and in some respects taught, some very strong and good men. And not one of them was perfect. Not one of them were in relationships where they didn't argue. Not one of them at some point in time didn't blow money. Not one of them used every second of every day to do something constructive. But they were all committed to being better men, better human beings, every day. So let me ask you another question. What's one area of your life you're actively trying to improve right now as I'm speaking? Type that in the chat. Is it your health? Your money situation, your finances? Is it your relationships, whether that's romantic or in terms of platonic with your friends? Is it your discipline? Type that in the chat. This is important because improvement begins with that level of transparency and honesty. Whenever you meet somebody and they say, "Oh, I got it all figured out. Everything's going perfect. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." No, well, there's one thing to say, "Hey, I have no complaints." That don't mean the person got stuff going wrong in their life. It just means they're not complaining about it. That's one thing. It's another thing. Oh no, I figured it all. I got it all. No, that person is done smoke something real powerful, drink something real strong, or they're delusional. Now let's ask a bigger question, family. If men's empowerment is successful, what kind of men should it produce? Woo, this is a big one. And this question you should ask of churches, religious institutions, you should ask of educational institutions. If that school is successful, what type of student should it produce? If that church or that mosque or that temple is successful, what type of people should it produce? That's always should be the question. They shall be known by their fruits. It's always the question we have to ask, right? In my humble opinion and perspective, a men's empowerment program, channel, organization should produce men that are more honest, men that are more purpose-driven, not drifting around like feathers in the wind, men who are becoming more emotionally intelligent. There's like 9 areas of that we're not going to go through now, but there's a lot to that. That's not one thing. Men who are physically and mentally healthier, men who are more disciplined, men who are more responsible, more accountable, men who are less likely to blame their bad circumstance on anybody else and say, you know what? I could have done this better. Now that I look back, if I could do it over again, I'd do this better. I can't go back, but I'm going to do it better going forward. It should produce men who are more reliable. They say they're going to be on this street, in this corner at this time. You can pretty much bet your life they're going to be there. If they're not going to be there, they're going to call you enough time to let you know, oh man, something came up, I can't be there. But you won't just be there standing like where they at, right? So men who do their best to honor their commitments and responsibilities. It should produce men who respect women. It Should produce men who love and protect their children and show up for their children, don't just bounce on them. This should be men who do their best to support their families in every way possible. This should be producing men who bring peace and order and harmony to the spaces they enter, or do their best to, instead of chaos and destruction. These should be men who bring order instead of confusion and disorientation. Men's empowerment should produce men who seek and effectively apply solutions instead of complaints and whining and excuses. Men's empowerment should produce men who are willing to exert leadership. And I mean fair-minded, firm but fair-minded, effective leadership, not domination, not bullying people, as we say in the hood, deboing people, right? Men who favor integrity over image and the cosmetic things. They look successful, right? They had a car that's $1 million, but they broke. They have no assets. Not that type of man. A man who realized, yo, I want some nice things in life, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is I want to be a man, a human being with integrity. That's a model that other people look at and say, wow, I want to kind of do what he's doing, or I wonder what he reads. I wonder, what exercise is he doing, whatever it is. These are the things that are important. And let me add this. A better man, because this is something people confuse when we say, I'm self-improving, I'm working on self, I'm making self priority, people take that to mean something else. So let me make this clear. Working on yourself, seriously, working on yourself, being a better man, doesn't mean that a man simply improves his own life. It should go without saying. But when a man is becoming a better human being, right, he's going to improve the spaces that he enters. His family should benefit. His friends should benefit. His co-workers or employees should benefit. His students should benefit. His neighbors should benefit. His community should benefit. And that's why self-development is not selfishness or self-absorption. That's a very important distinction to make. A person could be doing a whole lot of stuff externally for people and still be selfish if they're not doing those things externally for righteous reasons. So it's important we don't get caught up with semantics if we know the nature of words, what they're supposed to mean, right? Men who are being empowered, that are going through some type of spiritual, financial, educational empowerment, understand they don't live on islands by themselves. This ain't Gilligan's Island family. We are attached to families. We come from neighborhoods. We come from communities and organizations we're attached to. Many of us, all of us, are citizens of nations. And the purpose of improving yourself is really not about to prop yourself up as being better. It's not simply to look in the mirror like Narcissus did in the river and look at itself and get so enraptured with yourself that you destruct. It's to become more valuable to the people who depend on you. Now, let's think about this for a minute. In a culture, hold on, family. I got ambient noise right outside where I'm at. Please bear with me. It's one of the bad sides of living in New York City. The purpose of self-improvement is to become a more valuable, a greater asset to yourself and to the people who depend on you, or to the people to whom you're attached. Now, in a culture that's quick to label masculinity as toxic, it's almost like the way you hear it, it's almost like they're saying if you're a man, you're toxic. We know that's not true. But the type of empowerment, the type of man I'm describing, that is the type of masculinity I'm supporting. Is healthy, and it's the type of masculinity worth defending. Now, let me ask you another question. Who is the best man you've ever known, or one of the best? For some of you, it might have been your dad. For others, it was your grandfather. Maybe it was an athletic coach. Maybe it was a mentor. I want you to ask, what made that man so respectful to you? Why did you respect him so much? Share that in the comments. Let's give these men that have made impact in your life some love, right? Let's give them some real love. You don't have to put their names, but you can at least put their designation, uncle, dad, Now, let me now move to the part where we talked kind of about what men's empowerment is. I like to break it down to the very last compound. I want to talk about what men's empowerment is not. I want to remove all confusion tonight, because there's some dangerous ideas floating around online, family. So I need to challenge those ideas very sternly and clearly. Men's empowerment is not about manipulating women. It's not about, these are the lines you use to get women in bed. That's not men's empowerment. That's pimpology, family. There's a difference. Men's empowerment is not about deceiving women. It's not about collecting women like sexual trophies. Men's empowerment is not about treating women like your personal ATM machine. All right? Men's empowerment is not about being emotionally cold, not having empathy, not feeling when you see a person that's homeless, you walk by and don't think about them, don't care. That's not men's empowerment. Men's empowerment is not about intimidating people. It's not about being arrogant. It's not about thinking you're better or superior to anyone. Men's empowerment is not about participating in these silly and endless gender wars. So, there are a lot of social media commentators who I shall not name. You know who they are. And there's some so-called men's empowerment ideologies. I don't need to name because you know what they are. And they make a living and they get rich, some of them, off of beating up on women, blaming women for everything wrong, right? Saying that a woman's place is to be the man's sexual conquest. These type of things. I can categorically disagree with that. Men's empowerment is not about making hatred your identity. Some people don't have a real thing that they're for. Some people can't tell you the type of world they envision. Some people can't tell you how they want their neighborhood to change, how they want the political structure to change. Their only identity is what they're against, who they don't like, who they want to hurt, who they're scapegoating. Men's empowerment is not about identifying with hatred. Now, speaking of women, can we criticize women sometimes? Can we point out things we don't like or things that make us uncomfortable? Absolutely. Can women criticize men and point out things they don't like or they feel are uncomfortable? Most definitely. Constructive criticism helps people grow. What I'm saying, though, is that mature people, particularly those of us who say we're trying to become more empowered, are going to spend far more time correcting themselves, focusing on where they fall short, right? Building the skills and the mentalities they need to be better than they are attacking other people, because they realize, even if I am completely right about a said president and his or her policies, and I'm completely right about how much wrong they're doing, I can address that. And there's ways to do that through protests and all the petitions and all that. But at some point, I also have to say to myself, well, I can't control said president, said congressperson, said bank, said people. But there's one person on this planet that I can have complete control over. Only one. Not your lady, not your mama, not your auntie, not your cousins, not your daughters or your sons. You. We can control ourselves. So mature people lock in on, I'm gonna make sure that I'm very conscientious about my speech, my language. that I pay great detail and attention to what I think, the things I say out my mouth, and the things I think to myself. My self-talk. I'm going to make sure it's not negative. I'm going to make sure I'm not self-cursing. I'm never going to be all right. I'm always going to be, oh, I'm never going to have money. No. We're not saying that stuff, right? We are saying stuff like, I attract and manifest peace, opportunity, and abundance daily. We speaking to ourselves with love and care and purpose and intention. That's wisdom, by the way. And I believe that the greatest battle a man will ever fight is not against a woman, not against their parents, their siblings, their children, or even society or another man. I believe it's against the worst version of himself. The times in my life, and I've been through some calamities, family, I'm not going to get into them, medical calamities, violent calamities, fighting and all types of stuff, getting pulled up on, all types of stuff, relationship calamity. And you know, those things were hurtful and damaging in some respects. But you know what? Whenever I was together and whenever I focused on me, okay, this is happening, I don't like it, but I'm going to work on this. I'm going to get this job. I'm going to get this education. I'm going to position myself this way. I'm going to be useful over here. I got through all of that with scars. Let me be clear. But I was able to move through it. But it was the times where everything could have been popping, but I wasn't being the man that I could be. I wasn't utilizing all the blessings I've been given, the talents I developed, the skills. I was kind of farting around, wasn't taking it seriously. Those were the most painful times. Because it's one thing if somebody else does something to you. It's another thing when you look at yourself and say, man, you know you could be doing better, bro. What's going on? Come on. Don't be comfortable with mediocrity. And, you know, just like my mother used to say in school, oh, you got to be. And I'd be happy. So why are you so happy? Isn't the highest grade an A? My mother was demanding. And she had a point, meaning if the highest you can get is a C, you should be having a party if you got a C or a B minus. But if the highest you can get is an A, you should be like, yo, and you got a B minus or a C, you should be feeling like I'm not living up to my potential. And that's symbolic. When you don't live up to your potential in one space, it's symbolic of what you may do in other spaces. So you always want to push yourself to be your best, right? And that, by the way, is a battle when you're fighting with yourself. I'm not competing with no man or woman on this planet. I'm competing with me. I'm trying to figure out how I can learn from the past, not repeat mistakes, how I can take into account things I've heard about myself over the years, things I know about myself. How can I be better? I'm doing it every day, a little bit every day. And you know what? Unlike trying to fight everybody else, that's a battle that is always worth fighting and always worth winning. Now, as we come to more of to the closing part, I'm not the type of person, I'm an educator, you know, by trade for the most part, by training. I like to give people something practical, not just a bunch of words. I want to give you a simple test. I want to give you a way to test any men's empowerment channel or organization or anything like that. I want you, whenever you discover a men's empowerment channel on YouTube or TikTok or wherever you're going, I want you to ask yourself these 5 questions. Number 1, does this channel or creator inspire growth, or are they kind of pandering to and feeding my insecurity? Number 2, does this channel, organization, or creator encourage responsibility and self-accountability, or are they constantly encouraging me to blame something or someone outside of myself? And question number 3, are they teaching self-discipline? Being able to refrain from doing things, being able to go without, to be bigger than our appetites? Or are they simply giving us a bunch of entertainment and shocking comments? You know, comments designed to shock you and entertain you and be sensational, but they're not give you a real meal. Question number 4. Does this person, this channel, this organization, are they helping build better families and communities, or simply bigger egos? And finally, when I watch these videos, I read these books, I listen to this creator or I go to these organizational meetings, am I becoming a better human being, or am I just more upset? Or I have new catchphrases to say, but I'm not changing in any measurable way. These are questions. Those 5 questions are going to tell you everything you need to know. And here's something else important. Don't just use, I'm very confident. Don't just use this on other creators. Use it on me. I don't want blind followers. I don't need any followers of fanatics. I want thoughtful men who want to be better, for real, be better. When nobody's looking, everybody's asleep, be better. That's what I'm talking about. Don't follow personalities. Don't get caught up in that. That'll fool you every time. Don't you watch the news and hear about some of these preachers and educators and politicians is talking one way and they're doing this behind the scenes? Don't follow that. Follow principles. See character. So if I stop providing value, if you watch my videos, it's a bunch of nonsense and as my grandmother would say, tomfoolery, that's not giving you any value, don't support me. Stop supporting me. And tell people don't support them. Right? Now, as I conclude this, I want to say, when we say men's empowerment, it's so much larger than people think. Is it making sure that your fingernails are clean and your hands are clean and your body's clean? Yeah. Is it making sure that you meditate and you reflect on your life, you journal, you do affirmations, visualizations? Yeah. Is it being a better listener, an active listener? Is it gaining emotional intelligence? Is it taking care of your finances? Yeah, but it covers so much. And that's why here at the Wise OG, the Real Wise OG channel, if you look at the playlist, we really try to cover character, discipline, fatherhood, relationships, life purpose, financial literacy, time management, physical health, mental health, spirituality, and leadership. All of those things are part of what makes a man a better man. Because becoming a complete man requires growth in every major area of your life. And I am happy, I'm really pleased to say that based on your comments since I started this channel back in November of last year, so I would say over maybe 6 months, maybe about, I believe many of you understand and you're tapped into what we're trying to build here. And I'm really grateful for every one of you. Your comments sometimes have me laughing, some of the things you all say. Sometimes it make me feel proud, and me feel, okay, this is getting across to people. It's having the impact that I pray about and I meditate and visualize about. But I don't want this to be just another YouTube channel. I'm going to be real with you. I want it to become part of a movement that produces better fathers, better husbands and boyfriends, better sons, better leaders, better neighbors, better citizens of the country in which you reside. Because when men improve, families will become better, communities will become stronger, society will become tighter knit and more orderly and harmonious. The goal of my channel is not to create fans. That is not what I'm about. It's to create better men. And it's to create a community of people, let's say women. I've just saw over the last 2 months, 20% of the audience here at the Real Wise OG channel is women. It used to be 95% men. And I like that because the goal is to create better men, but it's also to create a community of people who support men being better. So that means the wives and girlfriends. It means the parents, the grandparents. I've heard from all type educators. I've heard from women in every one of those spaces I just named have been on the channel. I'm going to share this with my grandson, or, yeah, this is good. I'm going to use this in my class. I've heard it all. And I love that because it's for our women too, because we are in fact a team. Right? Now, if that mission speaks to you, this idea of building better men, more responsible men, more disciplined men, please Subscribe, but understand what you're subscribing to is not just another YouTube channel. They're becoming a penny a dozen. What you're subscribing to is a philosophy, a framework, and a movement. Please share these ideas with another man who needs them. If you're a woman listening to this, or you'll listen to the recorded broadcast, please share this with your significant other, your brothers, your sons, whoever, brothers in the neighborhood, brothers at the job that you think might appreciate it or that you think might need it. And let me also say this as an appreciation for all your support. Before you leave tonight, or when you leave tonight, I would love for you to download your free copy of my 25 Rules for Men. It's a PDF. It's about 15 pages, and it outlines the foundation of my philosophy, the 25 Rules for Men. It's a practical guide. It's built around many of the principles we discussed tonight, and you'll find the link to download that free 15-page PDF in the description section of this video. I want to leave you with one final thought, and that's that empowerment is never measured by quantity. It's never measured by how much attention you got, how much money you making off of it. It's always measured by how many lives did you impact. You know, I think about the story of Harriet Tubman often, and how they have various numbers of the people that she rescued from bondage. I think the most reliable is around 17 to 20 people. I think it's also important to note that most of those people were her immediate family members and very close family friends. So a very good measurement in your life is not how much money you got, cars you got, and people you know. It's, how many people can say that their lives were liberated, empowered, more enlightened, more purposeful, more clear, more orderly, because of you, because of your existence. That to me is one heck of a rubric. It's a heck of a metric, and that puts things in perspective, because it reminds us that we do have impact on people. One person can have an impact on other people. That, to me, is the mission. How many lives is this channel going to impact? How many men will be better, will have access when somebody's telling them, oh, the way that you get a woman to love you is smacking her, which is absolutely ridiculous and bad advice. They can come to this channel and say, no, we don't do that. Because one of the things he said in 7 Things a Man Should Never Do to a Woman is hit her. See, I hope that it will be that type of resource for some of the men who come here. That's the mission. That's the standard. And that, to me, everything I said tonight is speaking to the true purpose of men's empowerment. I want to thank you for spending this time with me. And until next time, stay disciplined, stay humble, keep learning, keep growing, and keep becoming the man you were created to become. And remember, this is not about doing a bunch of grandiose things once every 2 years. This is about doing little things every day of your life, family. Yeah, those of you who were in tip-top shape 20 years ago and now you're not, did you become overweight or out of shape in a week? No, that happened over 15, 20 years of what? Eating fast food every day, eating too late every day, right? Eating candy every day. This is, so you have to understand, it works in reverse too. Over time, you do little things every day, drinking a little too much, smoking them cigarettes and whatever you're doing. In 20 years, you're going to see the outcome of that. But guess what? If you do a few push-ups a day, a few crunches, your little exercises and stretches, you go on your little walks, you think positive every day. Other people say that's no big deal. But look, over time, like money in an investment, is going to grow. It's going to compound. So it's the same thing. You don't have to be Superman with this, family. You can be Peter Parker. You can be Clark Kent, but you do it every day. And people will notice, and you will notice. They're going to see changes in your body. They're going to see changes in your temperament, all that, your money, your cash flow. Family, anyway, thank you for joining us. And don't forget to download that free PDF. The information is in the description section. Thank you for listening, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe.